Hey film fans, welcome to CinePro, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps. From heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters. The movie starts with John waking up from his sleep and turning on his device to play as he usually does every day. But then one of his friends tells the others, "Did you see what's happening on the TV?" John then turns on the TV to find out what's happening in the country, but the signal cuts out and he hears people screaming outside in the street. John goes to the window to see what's happening outside. He is shocked to discover that people in the streets are attacking each other violently and eating each other. He's puzzled by what he sees, to the point that a girl attacks her mother and keeps eating her in a horrific scene. John can't understand what's happening outside and tries to comprehend the situation. He grabs his phone but finds no signal, and he returns to his apartment door when he hears a knock. He opens the door to see who it is and is surprised when his neighbor enters his apartment quickly, asking to stay with him. But John refuses and tries to push him out because he's afraid the same thing will happen to him as it did to the people in the street. However, his neighbor explains that his brother turned into a zombie and asks to stay in his apartment. John initially refuses, but later agrees when his neighbor asks to use the bathroom and then leave immediately. Meanwhile, John turns on the TV and hears the news announcing a widespread infection in the city that's turning people into zombies. The news anchor talks about the symptoms of the infection, which cause aggressive behavior, starting with a headache, mood changes, and eye bleeding. Then the skin changes color, turning into a full zombie that attacks humans. The anchor warns people to kill or run away if they see someone like that before getting infected. John remembers his neighbor in the bathroom and quickly grabs a knife from the drawer. When his neighbor comes out, John points the knife at him and orders him to leave immediately, or he will kill him. But his neighbor tries to explain that he's fine and nothing has happened to him, asking to stay for an hour before leaving. John refuses and demands he leaves before he kills him. At that moment, John notices his neighbor's eye bleeding, indicating he is among the zombies, spreading the infection. He asks him to leave quickly, but the neighbor refuses and keeps staring at his bleeding eye in the mirror. The neighbor realizes he's infected and starts transforming into a zombie. His body starts breaking down, and he begins attacking John to infect him and turn him into a zombie. But John manages to push him out of the apartment quickly, throwing him outside the door. The neighbor tries to re-enter, but John stabs him in the face with the knife, successfully keeping him away before he attacks. John looks through the peephole and sees a huge zombie grabbing his neighbor and eating him with terrifying ferocity and violence. John is disturbed by what's happening around him and stays hidden in his apartment. Later, John secures the entrances and exits of his apartment, placing the fridge in front of the door to prevent anyone from entering by force, even the huge zombie that was eating his neighbor. John washes his hands and face, perhaps thinking he's in a movie or dreaming, but each time he realizes that everything happening around him has become a reality he must accept. He tries to contact someone, whether friends or family, but can't reach anyone as there's no network signal. He receives messages from his family saying they're safe and advising him to stay home, lock himself in, and never go outside again, keeping himself safe from the zombies taking over the city. John turns on the TV to follow the situation in the street and learn the outcome of the zombies spreading everywhere. The news warns citizens to stock up on food for 60 days, as going outside is prohibited until a solution is found to eliminate all the zombies. John calculates how long his food will last and tries to ration it to make it last as long as possible. He realizes he only has enough food for 10 days, meaning he needs food for 50 more days. John considers planting fruit seeds to grow new crops, but the process seems time-consuming, leaving him bored and frustrated. He also thinks about taking a selfie from his balcony with the zombies in the street, but remembers seeing someone fall from a balcony, becoming easy prey for the zombies below, and dismisses the idea. John sees many people posting pictures and pleading for help from the army and police, considering doing the same, but he doesn't have a network to post anything. He thinks about using his drone to lift his phone to a higher place to find a signal, tries his idea, and succeeds in finding a network. He also manages to see all the zombies in the surrounding buildings. However, the drone's battery runs out, and it falls into the street, leaving him frustrated and hopeless again. John keeps watching the street day and night, hoping the army or police will pass by so he can seek help. One night, he sees a policewoman standing in the street with a gun, trying to fend off the zombies attacking her after all her police team members turned into zombies. They attack her in large numbers, manage to overpower her, and she becomes a zombie too. John tries to scream to stop them from attacking her, but they grab her and eat her. The gun falls to the ground, and John thinks about going down to get the gun to keep it with him, knowing it will come in handy. However, his thoughts are interrupted by the sound of zombies trying to open his door after hearing his voice. They come up to see him, hiding in his apartment. John rushes to the door to prevent the zombies from entering, but they are too strong and manage to open the door and enter the apartment. John quickly runs to the balcony to lure the zombie there and throw it off. The zombie approaches him and the balcony plan worked. The zombie fell off the balcony, and I got up. John was able to return to his apartment naturally and lock the door stronger than before with a hammer and nails, so no one could breach his place again and enter to threaten his life. Meanwhile, he continued recording videos for his YouTube channel, talking about his experience with zombies and how he tries to coexist with them. The fact that he's still alive is considered a huge miracle since he killed one of them by luck, making himself a leader in reality. Then comes the 7th day, and John sees on the news that the infection spreads to humans through blood when one of them bites another or injures them, mixing their blood. Zombies can also retain memories like opening doors, hearing sounds, and human automatic movements. The media starts warning citizens not to let any zombie bite them or mix blood, emphasizing that zombies can't smell, see, or hear well. Therefore, they must be cautious about their movements, like opening doors and windows. Then John's water runs out, and the taps are dry, leaving him extremely tired and thirsty. He tries every day to record videos for his channel, narrating his daily experiences, hoping someone might see them one day and rescue him. Here John decides to drink all the whiskey and get drunk to escape the zombie world, whose ending no one knows. He drifts away from reality, getting drunk until he falls asleep from exhaustion. While drunk, he feels like he sees his parents returning to him and embracing him. But when he starts to believe it, he remembers and wakes up from his stupor, realizing it's all fantasy and illusion. The next day, John wakes up from the drunkenness he lived in for days and begins to think about covering his windows to prevent zombies from seeing him. He starts observing the zombies from behind the covers to watch their movements and understand how they operate, so he knows how to react if cornered by one. However, he feels despair, fatigue, and depression, thinking of a plan to escape his apartment. But he receives a comforting message from his family, assuring him they're okay and asking him to reassure them about himself. John tries to send them messages, but there's no network. He then takes a selfie stick, trying to catch a signal from outside the balcony. But the zombies see him from below and start shouting, eager to eat him. Annoyed by his life, he decides to leave his apartment finally, taking a golf club with him. He starts hitting any zombie in his path and then encounters his neighbor running towards him. John keeps shouting at him, overwhelmed and nearly going insane from the surrounding zombies. His shouting attracts a massive number of zombies trying to eat him, forcing him to escape in the opposite direction, only to find himself surrounded by zombies everywhere. He attempts to take the elevator to escape, but zombies are emerging from every corner, even the elevator. He runs until he faces a blind zombie with no eyes, trying to hide from it until it passes so he can re-enter the apartment. He manages to get inside, but the zombies hear him closing the door and gather at the door, trying to break in. John stands behind the door, resisting to keep it shut. John wakes up from a nap to find all the power stations in the city have exploded, leaving the entire city in darkness. He records another video for his channel, admitting he's exhausted and sees no more hope for life, deciding to end his life due to increased depression and mental fatigue. He prepares a rope to hang himself, but a red laser beam from the opposite building catches his attention. He dismisses the idea of suicide, quickly untying himself and looking out the balcony to see a beautiful girl standing opposite him. She had been watching him for a while. Seeing her revives John's spirit, and hope lights up his face upon realizing there's someone like him still alive. The girl communicates with him by pointing a laser at a board with letters to talk to him, calling him foolish for considering suicide. John tries to call out and talk to her, but she signals him to stay quiet to avoid attracting zombies to their apartments. Her name was Kim, and she had prepared her apartment to the highest level, equipped with many weapons to defend herself if zombies tried to enter. As they communicated using their tablets, a zombie tries to enter Kim's apartment but falls into a trap she set. Kim deals with it, then night falls, and it starts raining. Kim and John take advantage of the rain to collect water in empty containers to ensure they have enough drinking water, as such rain is rare. Kim explores the building where John lives, examining the surrounding apartments and floors to identify zombie presence and numbers. They get to know each other, trying to send food to each other. Kim throws a rope to transfer food to John, but it falls in the street. John uses a drone to reach Kim, who places food on it and sends it back to him. But the rope in the street is noticed by a firefighter zombie who remembers some memories and begins pulling the rope down. The rope was tied to a table in Kim's apartment, and as the firefighter zombie pulls it rapidly, the table hits Kim, causing her to fall unconscious. The firefighter zombie starts climbing the rope to reach Kim's apartment. After that, John saw her and tried to make the firefighter fall off the rope before reaching Kim. He threw a vase at him, but it fell on the ground far from him, so he thought of getting his drone to hit the zombie to make it fall. The zombie managed to grab the drone and threw it to the ground. At this point, the zombie reached Kim's balcony. Before it climbed up, Kim kicked it and it fell to the ground below and died. Then, Zombie of the Night was hungry and didn't know what to do, needing to eat or die. So, he decided to go out at night to search his neighbor's apartment for any food or drink. He entered Jaro's apartment, finding it full of food, drinks, and all the equipment anyone might need. Then, he found Jaro's sister's corpse on the bed, and as soon as he turned around, he saw Zombie Jaro coming to attack him. At this point, John hid in his sister's body and escaped from the zombie, running back to his apartment quickly and locking the door. The next day, he ate the things he had stolen from Jaro and sent Kim a wireless message and food to communicate with each other. The next day, all the zombies in the street began moving and entering the building where Kim was. While Kim was hiding, she accidentally knocked over her table. The zombies heard her and ran towards her immediately. However, John managed to distract them by ringing Jaro's bell to draw all the zombies there, moving them away from Kim, who was still in her apartment. He succeeded in moving them away from Kim, saving her life, and then John called her to check on her. She told him she was fine, and they both promised to take care of themselves, becoming new friends. They decided to leave their apartments quickly and try to move farther away in the street from the zombies. They prepared themselves, and John went out, starting to kill everyone in his way as he descended from his building. Meanwhile, Kim took a shortcut, grabbed a rope, and threw herself from the balcony, quickly jumping down to the street like a true ninja. As soon as she landed, a large number of zombies attacked her, but she managed to kill all those who confronted her. However, she fell on her back on the ground, and as the zombies attacked her, she managed to get up and kill them again. But another zombie came. But before it could reach her, John finally arrived and killed it. They ran together, but zombies came from everywhere, surrounding them. They managed to kill all those who confronted them, pushing them away until they reached the building they wanted to enter. They entered the building, closed the door quickly, took the elevator, and went up to the 8th floor. After reaching the 8th floor, a large number of zombies attacked them. They tried to enter any apartment, but they were all locked. They faced the ground after all the zombies surrounded them, trying to eat them, but he fought back with all his strength, fiercely killing them and pushing them away. At that moment, Kim managed to open the door of one of the apartments, quickly taking John inside the apartment and locking the door after a man opened the apartment door for them and let them in. The man welcomed them, gave them food and drink, and they got to know each other, deciding to stay together for the coming period to survive. The man told them that a large number of soldiers were flying around the city in planes to rescue the humans who were still alive like them, preventing the infection from reaching them, and they would soon arrive at their location. John and Kim were happy, hugged each other, and began to regain hope that they would live and not die, turning into zombies like the rest who had transformed. Despite all this, John and Kim were still not trusting the man, waiting to see what he would do and doing the same to ensure he wouldn't harm them. At that point, John asked him for food, and while they were eating, the man had poisoned them without them noticing, intending to feed them to his wife, who had become a zombie, so she wouldn't die of hunger. However, Kim and John managed to regain consciousness before the man could offer them to his wife. John threatened him with the gun he had, demanding he release Kim from his wife before killing him. The man dropped the rope holding the door, and inside the room, Kim held her ground, facing the zombie wife to avoid dying. But after a while, the noise stopped in the room. The zombie wife attacked the man, eating him instead of Kim, saving them both. Afterward, Kim and John felt despair, fatigue, and depression after going through a very tough time. Even the healthy people they met wanted to take revenge on them and eliminate them, losing all hope in everyone. Kim asked John to take out the gun and kill her to end her suffering, and John considered the same thought because they were exhausted. He decided to kill her because he couldn't take it anymore. But before he could do it, they heard the sound of planes flying over the city, bringing back their hope. They decided to go out and face the zombies one last time to reach the plane that would save their lives. They managed to reach the stairs, going up to the roof to see the plane that would save them. But then, there were no planes, and they had probably left them behind, bringing back their despair. The zombies reached the roof, opened the door, and reached them. John fought the zombies one last time before he and Kim died, shooting at them with the gun that was almost out of bullets, starting to surrender to death. But then, a plane appeared behind them, and the soldiers began killing all the zombies in front of them until John and Kim boarded the plane, saving their lives. John and Kim finally boarded the plane safely, and the army saved their lives after they had spent many difficult days alone fighting the zombies that had wiped out half the city's population. It wasn't just John and Kim who were saved. There were other residents who managed to stand their ground and defend themselves with all their might until the army came and saved them too. And the movie ends here. Imagine how you would deal with this situation. Could you fight all those numbers alone? Or would you give up from the start, ignore it, and die? Or would you resist and preserve your life as long as possible until help arrives? Don't forget to like, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe and activate the bell button so you receive our videos promptly. See you soon, goodbye.